Well, Dean, it seems just like yesterday the trailer season was starting.
I know, and now we're moving into our last month here, hey?
Yeah, we're counting down to another couple of weeks and we'll be done for the season. We've enjoyed the trailer. We bought it because our son also bought in this park, and it's been very good for us. And it put us in mind of how we started off with our family. And we couldn't afford, as a young married family, to go on these package tours from England to Mallorca or the Costa Brava in Spain or Tenerife. So we did the next best thing. I had a company car and we went and bought a caravan, as they say in England.
Or for the rest of you, a mini trailer.
And we towed it behind my company car, which they very generously allowed us in those days.
Yes, we did, didn't we?
So our main focus was going to France from England on the car ferries. And we went to a whole bunch of places in France over the years.
We did, and the kids loved it. It was a way of showing them a different part of the world, wasn't it?
And we were trying to teach them French as well. And our son was more than willing, as a little 6-year-old, to go in the post office and ask for stamps for postcards to England. Because even in those days, we were doing postcards.
We did, but we do have one very memorable trip from that, don't we, Norm?
We do, Tina.
And that was...
When something can go wrong, it can really go wrong.
The day before we set off on our trip, Norm had some work done on the car. Then we hitched her up, and the next day we went down and we drove down to the ferry, didn't we?
We did.
But on the way, when we stopped at the ferry, we had people all waving at us saying, "The car, you've got water all leaking out from the car."
So what had happened was, this was a new company car, but it needed some work doing to a water pump, I believe. And so when they put the hose pipe back on, you were meant to twist the hose pipe away from the pulley of the fan belt. They didn't do that. So we got a hole in that hose pipe.
And here we were in the lineup of traffic waiting to get on the ferry.
The car ferry was right there.
Yeah.
We were in the lineup going nose to tail to it.
So we had no choice. We had some bottles of water in the car. We poured lots of water in and we hoped that we could come up with a solution when we got off the other end in France, didn't we?
So every hour or so we would stop and we would fill it up with water again until we got to our campsite, which was relatively close by. And the curious thing in France is that in those days, they parked their trailers side on the lot, whereas in England, you parked it nose on. And so all the locals who were already camped would have great entertainment watching Norm try to reverse his trailer into the spot.
That was a lot of fun, wasn't it, hey?
Anyway, so I had the hood or the bonnet of the car up, trying to figure out what the heck was going on. And 2 French guys came over from an adjacent campsite. They turned out to be printers in a newspaper press in Lyon. And they were mechanics and didn't speak English, but mechanic language is a universal language. They saw the hole and said, come with us. So I got in their car, we went into town, we found this hole-in-the-wall garage that was basically just a shutter. And they went in there and told the mechanic what they were looking for, the owner of the garage. Next minute, they come back out and they've got a tube, a metal tube about the diameter of the hose pipe, a couple of Jubilee clips that we call them, I'm not sure what they are in America, hose clamps.
Yeah, they sort of clamped it together, didn't they?
And went back to the campsite and they cut the hole out in the hose and put this metal tube in and secured it with the hose clamps or the Jubilee clips. Cured.
Problem fixed.
And they wouldn't even take any money for it. So
No.
Then they said, well, why don't we get together for dinner? They had children, we had children. So We did, and I think they were Algerian heritage, French, and they introduced us to an absolutely wonderful thing we'd never heard of, and even today, we have this. So what was that, Dean?
And that was tabbouleh. Oh, we loved it, didn't we?
We really did.
It was a dish they made that they actually made it with couscous
Yep.
and chopped tomatoes and I think fresh mint and parsley.
yeah.
And I think it was like tossed in an olive oil or
It
something,
was.
maybe
And
with
seasoned.
And we thought this was absolutely wonderful. We had never had anything like this before. And they also introduced us to a wonderful drink, Norm, a liqueur, sort of nearly a liqueur.
Well, it was Kia Royale.
And we'd never had that before, had we?
That was absolutely yummy, if you ever get a chance to have that.
That was delicious.
So in return, we had them back for dinner as well.
Yeah.
And we scoured, the next day, we scoured the town, the countryside, to try and find a bottle of sherry.
Yeah.
So that we could give them something as unique as Kia Royale, but something from England.
So we did find one, didn't we?
We did.
It did take a lot of finding, and it probably wasn't the best.
No, it wouldn't.
But they thought it was wonderful. So they came over to us, but the total irony was they had young children, we had 2 young children, and they all played together, and ours couldn't really speak French, theirs couldn't speak English.
Didn't stop them.
Didn't stop them. They had a whale of a time, and it brought back memories of what a fabulous trip that was, wasn't it?
So fast forward to our early retirement, and we're wondering, what are we going to blow our travel budget on? Lo and behold, Tina finds a deal.
That was on Travel Zoo, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
It was.
So this was relocating the RV from Toronto to Vancouver, and it was an absolute steal of a deal.
Yeah, it was, from memory, it was $29 a night. We couldn't believe it, could we?
We just had to pay the gas, the $29. They threw in the insurances for the windshield, breakdown service.
And like they included everything, the sleeping bags, the pots and pans that you'd normally have to pay extra for.
Yeah.
All that was included. So we signed up for that and we thought, man, this is going to be an exciting adventure. What we didn't realize was this was in April. And that was
it's still wintertime in Canada.
They didn't tell us that when we booked it, paid for it all, turned up to get the place, didn't we?
Yeah, but there were no campsites open. Not until we got to BC.
No.
But basically, we were just camping in Walmart parking lots. we would go and ask them if we could
stay. And even though a lot of them had signs up saying no overnight parking, we thought if we go and ask them, the managers were so wonderful. They said, sure, you can park there. And before we knew it, there was maybe 4 or 5 of us in each car park there. And we would get up early in the morning as soon as the Walmarts opened at like 7 o'clock, and we'd all go in and we'd use the washrooms, wouldn't we? And you could wash and everything, and it was great. And in fact, one night we stayed in, was it like a Waitrose? Safeway.
And that was in
beautiful place,
just outside of Banff.
Canmore. That was beautiful.
And we met the manager of the Safeway inside, because we were going in to ask if we could park in the Safeway parking lot, and he was such a nice guy, and he said of course. And they had 2 bays just to the side of the store, designed for 18-wheeler delivery vans, so when they delivered, if they'd run out of hours, they could park overnight. He said, take one of those bays.
That was great, wasn't it?
Woke up in the morning, everywhere was white.
We got the first snow of the trip, and if you would like to see a lot more of that adventure, we will put a link to it right here, because wow, it was so exciting, wasn't it, Norm?
So we highly recommend trailering, caravanning, especially if you have young children, grandchildren. And this behind us is our trailer. It's a great option because we don't want to tow anymore. So it's permanently parked here, and it gives us that experience. And all those memories come flooding back.
It's true, isn't it? And I think today, Norm, we're going up to a whopping 28 degrees,
And this is September in Ontario.
which is going to be wonderful. Although the funny thing is, last night it went really cool, and we cheated and we actually put the furnace on this morning.
It was chilly.
It was chilly.
So if you enjoy stories like this,
Yeah.
I'm going to link to what Tina wants you to see next, which we think is one of our best movies ever.
Yes.
So click just here. And we hope everybody's keeping well.
And staying safe.
And until the next time,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.